One, so I wanted to record a video. I wanted to record a video explaining and showing you how to do the factor analysis for your stage 2 report. Okay, so if you just follow what I am doing in this presentation, this recording, you should be able to complete the assignment for the stage 2 report for your team. Okay, so I'm going to continue with the example that I showed you with the Qualtrics survey setup, which in that particular case I had the printers. The printer was my product category, and then we created three need areas, and you might recall that one was speed of printing, and you know the other need area was how it would fit into the other objects in in my house, so it's sort of home appeal, and also thirdly the eco-friendliness of the printer. So, and I had these three printers, one HP printer, one Samsung printer, and one Brother printer, right? So, and I collected data, I sent it out to typically, technically you're supposed to have 10 observations per item, per survey item. That means 10 for each one of these. So I have how many? 15 items for each statements for these products. So 15 times 10, so the sample size should be about 150. But I've asked you to get 40 responses. So send if you send out to 100 people, and I did this for this printer example. I sent it out to 100 people. I got about 50 responses, and some of which were incomplete. And I'll show you the data in a second. Okay, so once you collect the data, once you have the desired number of responses, what you want to do is to download the data. And how do you download the data? You go to Data and Analysis here, and then you click Export Data. Once you export data, it says Export Complete Data Set, and you want to click that. And when you click that, it's going to ask you what kind and what format. So you want to click SPSS, and you download the data. Okay. So once you download the data, open the data file, and I'm going to do that here. And my computer is a little slow, so as it's opening the data file, let me just set up the whole what we're going to be doing this through this session. So I'll walk you through first how to view the variables on SPSS. I know some of you have taken the class, the marketing research class, so you are somewhat familiar with SPSS. But I'll show you what the data view is, what the variable view is, and how you might toggle between those to do the different tasks. Okay, and so the second thing we want to do, we're going to look for the incomplete surveys that are in the data, and typically you want to delete. You want to establish, statistically speaking, you're supposed to establish how the people who did not complete the survey were different from the people who completed the survey. There's you have to show that they're not different from each other. So but we're not going to be doing any of that. So what I will ask you is to just delete the incomplete survey items, and I'll show that in a second once the data set opens up. And then the third thing I'm going to show you is to stack the data. Okay, so we have 3 different products and 15 items for each of those 15 survey items for each of those products. So 45 actually set of observations. So we're going to stack the data because for factor analysis and principal competence analysis, we're looking at the variables. So once you stack the data, you have more observations, which is a good thing. And then finally, we have once we run the factor analysis. So at that point, once you stack the data, we're going to run the factor analysis, and then we're going to identify the number of factors, and then check the scree plot, like I mentioned in last class, and then we will extract the factors, and then eventually we want to get to the point where we have the principal, the coefficient matrix, okay, factor coefficient matrix, and we're going to pull that coefficient matrix into an Excel file, and we will also run means for each of the items variables for the individual products, and then we'll pull those means into that same Excel file, and then eventually we will create we will identify the factor scores for each of the products for each of the factors, and then we'll put them in a factor in a gap map. I know I might be losing you at this point because this SPSS file is taking a little long to open up, but once it opens, we'll get started. But so once we get to the point of the Excel file, then it's all familiar territory for you, right? So you probably work a lot with Excel. So the Excel file is gonna help us create the gap map. Okay, so okay, so that's gonna look something like this. Right, so we're going to extract the coefficient matrix from the SPSS. We're also going to, get the means, and these are the means for each of the items, variables. So we call these variables, and these are factors, right? Right over here are the factors. So these are means for individual variables. And so voila, finally this thing opened. So we can get started here. Okay, so the Excel file basically will end up with these coefficient matrix and the means, and then that'll help us calculate the factor scores. And then we'll have the factor scores, and we'll map the factor scores into a gap map. Okay, like that. So that's the endpoint. So let's move on to the SPSS. So we have the data opened. So this, as you will see, is the original data that was downloaded from Qualtrics. And you'll notice, one thing, you can do this with SPSS much like you do with Excel, kind of split the screen so you can see more of the data. So I want to scroll down here. If you look at the blast, you can see all of these unfilled spaces. Just shows you that the person did not complete the survey. So as I asked you before, you just want to clean that out, right? So clear that out, clear that out, clear that out, clear all of it out, right? So once you clear that out, you're going to get so let's just do that. Let's quickly do that. So I sent out 100 surveys, and I got about 50 responses, some of them which were not complete. So these, if you look over here, if you just look at the last portion here, you're able to see that these are not complete, right? So that's where, because we kind of we forced the response. I don't know if you recall, on the surveys, we if they did not respond to it, they could not move forward. So that's why the ones who finished the survey till the end, right? You can see that. Some of them just quit the survey, right? So yeah, so we're just going to delete these guys off, and all you have to do is to right click and clear. 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 2 more and we're done. So overall, we had about 43 responses, which were complete, right? Just want to confirm that. Let's make sure that we don't have any more missing data. So no more missing data. That's good. And then now we create a stacked file. So before I do that, I just want to show you the variable view. So this is how we see the variables, right? So this is a variable view. What is a variable view? These are respondents. These are the responses to each of the questions we had. If you recall, we have question 6 through 5. You look over here, go back to our survey. You will see that 6 through 5 was about the question. If you look over here, 6 through 5. 6.1, 6.2, 6.3, 6.4, 6.5 was about speed in printing. So these are 1 through 5, speed in printing. And then 7 through 5 was, does it fit in my home? Those kinds of questions. And that this is for the HP product. Question 7, question 8 was for eco-friendliness. And then we move on to the next printer, which is Samsung. You'll see the question number is 16, speed in printing, and that you'll see that over here in the SPSS file. 16, starting 16, 1 through 5, right? So on and so forth, and we get the brothers. So these are the each respondent's responses in the rows. and in the columns are the variables, right? Now to see specifically what these variables are, we go to variable view, right? And if you look at the label here, you'll see what these items are. Question 6.1 prints fast. That maps out with what we have here, right? Question 6.1 was prints fast, right? And question 2 was helps me become more efficient, so on and so forth. So you see the variable view, right? So once you have, so you can, this way you can see exactly which items are what. Now for the stacked data set, now this is the clean data set, right? So I'm just going to save this as cleaned data. I already have a file like that, so I saved over it. Now, you know, now we're going to stack the data. So we clean the data, now we're going to stack this data. So I'm just going to save this as stacked file. And I already have a version like that. So, but I'd encourage you to name your original file, the clean data file, as full data, because I'm going to be asking you to submit that full data to me later in the semester, and save this as stacked file. Okay, so I already have something like that, so I'm going to overwrite that. And then what you need to do is, all this stuff over here, we don't need any of that for your stacked file. Okay, so I'm just going to delete all of it. Just clear all that. And you can clear that from here, or you can go here and also clear it. So you notice that it went away from the data view. Okay, so then at this point we need this stuff here to make sure that you know, I'm just going to show that this is Samsung, and this is the point we separate. This is the point we separate into brother. Also, the other thing that we don't need is these questions on purchase intention. We're not going to be doing anything with that in the semester, although I asked students to do, the regular semester, I asked students to do a bunch of stuff with that. Regression to find out, you know, what factors impact purchase more. Anyway, so we're not going to be doing that. We clear that. So we end up with the item, the product is environmentally sustainable. This is for HB right over here. Right over here we go till same thing. We can clear that out. Environmentally sustainable. This is for Samsung. And finally, we don't need any of that. Gender, we're not going to do anything with that right now. And then I'm just going to clear that out also from here. Okay, so now we have a fairly, you know, compact set of data. So then I go to, data view, and then what I'm going to do is to stack the data. So what do I mean by stacking the data? I go from question 16.1, right, to the last one here, which is 18.5, which was the environmentally sustainable, right, for the Samsung product. Go all the way down here, cut that, and paste it underneath over here. Oops, something happened which we don't like. Don't like that at all. Let's go here. 6.1 to 1 through 5, 1 through 5, 18, 1 through 5. You know, sometimes it does this, and I hate when it does that. So I come all the way to 16.1 through 18.5. See, when I clicked it, I didn't click it the right place. So you got to be careful when you copy paste it. So that's why it's probably better to copy paste and get rid of the data later. Okay, now we got it right. So 1 through 8 through 5. Now you can clear all this stuff out. Actually, before we do that, let me just grab the other stuff. So 18.5, right? So next one was for brother. So brother started from 24, question 24, and all the way till 26, and then all the way down here. 24, and all the way till here, right? Take that, come to the bottom of this part, again, paste that here. Now you can see it's all lined up. We're going to get rid of all of this stuff here. Hold on. right here from this through all of that. You just clear it out. Okay, so now we have a clean data set till 18.5. Well, we don't need this either. See, look, I didn't see, when you do it in a hurry, this is what happens. Nothing. It's very important to question 12 through question 25. We don't need any of it anymore. Clear that. Okay, now we have the stack data set. Just save that.